Okay, good morning, BUIDL Asia. I hope you guys are warmed up by the previous talk. Um, by way of brief introduction, so I run research at Messari. Messari is a data intelligence and research company specifically focused on crypto. So you can loosely think of us as a Bloomberg terminal for crypto. I run our research businesses, and one of the things that we do is thesis-driven research. So what that basically means, we look at everything that's happening in crypto and around that, and we try to make predictions about the future. And as these things then happen in real time, as these narratives unfold, we follow those developments closely and we write long-form research reports about them. So what I'm going to be doing today, I am going to be talking about some of the things that we find interesting. It's by no means an exhaustive list. One of them nicely fitting into the talk before, so the intersection of AI and crypto. Then I'll also talk about decentralized physical infrastructure networks, also coined DPINs. Next, about scaling in the context of EIP 4844. And finally, everyone's favorite topic, meme coins and whether they're a new asset class. So with that, the intersection of AI and crypto. So this is a compelling narrative that has been getting a lot of attention. To quantify that, crypto projects focused on AI were just $4.6 billion in market cap about 9 months ago, and currently they stand at about $26 billion. So clearly it's something that people find very interesting. But what is the intersection of AI and crypto, right? It's a pretty broad term. And for the context of this presentation, to frame it, I really like the approach that a recent paper published through the University of Oxford took. And it's basically keeping it very simple, saying like, well, it's either crypto benefiting AI or AI benefiting crypto, right? And what it's specifically not is AI and crypto both contributing to a product but not interacting with each other. So what I'm going to be talking about is a couple of developments that we find interesting and that we're monitoring at the intersection, where crypto is helping AI. And you see a couple of examples of each of these here. So if you think about it, in essence, crypto solves coordination problems, right? So crypto aligns people, compute, and monetary resources to run open source crypto. But you can apply the same thing to the AI stack. So what I'm going to be talking about is three things here. So first, I'm going to talk briefly about AI agents, which is very early still, like actually most of this is, obviously. Then I'm going to be talking about BitTensor, which is a decentralized AI ecosystem. And finally, when I talk about DPINs, I'm going to be speaking about decentralized GPU networks. But starting with AI agents. So AI agents are autonomous entities that can perform complex workflows. And what people think is as these AI agents become more sophisticated, is that they will become more specialized and become very good at like one thing. And what you will see then is the emergence of a marketplace for AI agents, where these AI agents are going to be hiring each other for the tasks that they are good at. And they're going to need a mechanism to pay each other. And we think that it's very probable that crypto rails will be leveraged for that because of the permissionless and trustless nature, and also because there is a lot of friction to use traditional payment rails for that. On top of that, what is also interesting is the DPINs that I'm going to be talking about next. And we also think that these will be used by AI agents as digital resources that they can be tapping into, that they can be leveraging, like compute, for example, or bandwidth or storage. Again, this is a very nascent space, and this is a thesis that we have about the future. So increasingly, AI development is taking place behind the closed doors of the big tech companies, right? Assuming that OpenAI is kind of like Microsoft, and you have DeepMind of Google, versus taking place within academia. And this trend has led to a decrease in collaboration between with these academia and with these independent machine learning laboratories, and that is not good for the space. And why the reason why that is happening is because big tech, they want to keep their secret sauce to themselves because it's obviously a competitive environment. So what that means for these smaller machine learning labs is if, for example, if they would want to build a better version of GPT-4, they kind of like have to train it from scratch. And that is very costly. That goes into the millions of dollars, which means, they can't really afford that. And so what BitTensor has built is an open network that incentivizes collaboration, so that allows researchers basically to train models using other models, what they're not able to do with these big tech companies. And it's actually acting effectively as a free market governed model coordination layer. So, or said otherwise, you can think of it as an open source AI stack. Also, very early days, and it still has to be proven. But it's an ecosystem that we've looked at a lot and wrote about quite a lot, and that we're closely monitoring. DeepIn. DeepIn, or decentralized physical infrastructure networks, that's a mouthful, so good that there's an acronym, is a space that really rose to prominence or got a lot of attention last year. And we were, as Messari, we helped frame that narrative and putting it on the map through the research that we did. We even coined up the specific terms that everyone has now adopted. Now, what DeepIns do is they use token rewards to incentivize the crowdsourcing and building of real-world physical infrastructure networks like wireless and like cloud computing. And traditionally, these infra networks were centralized. Most of them still are, obviously, and they have required a lot of capital, right, to get these off the ground. Think about all these 5G licenses that were auctioned like in the early 2000s, and token incentives can dramatically change this cost structure. So let's talk about an example that everyone can probably relate to. There's this project called DIMO, D-I-M-O, and what you basically do, you buy this little device from them for like $300, and you plug it into your car, and it will start collecting data about your car, like how many miles you drive, the fuel economy of your car. Do you need to change your oil if you drive electric? How's your battery doing, right? And because you share that data, every week that you contribute this data to the network, they give you a bunch of tokens, demo tokens. And as that network starts to gain traction and start to scale, these tokens become, they get value, right? Like everything in crypto, because people are speculating on it. And so I get paid like $25 every week now by demo into my wallet just because I'm connected to that. Now, on the other side, what they're then looking to do is provide this data once the aggregate has reached significant scale to like companies, right, that are going to be paying them for it. And then part of that revenue is going to be paid back to the people that are contributing the data. So you get paid for contributing your data. So there's as you can see here, this is a market map, and there are many other examples that do a ton of different things. And it's not without challenges, right? Like a lot of things in crypto, it's an evolving technology, so it's not all sunshine. So whereas the projects have done a pretty good job on the supply side, quite a few are struggling on the demand side, right? Actually trying to sell these services, and that part of that is because they don't have like big sales teams or BD or customer service to deal with these customers. But there's so there's interesting new approaches emerging, and also something that we're closely following. And what's interesting in the context of AI is decentralized compute. So GPUs are the lifeblood of the machine learning, in particular the training and inferencing of machine learning models that have notoriously compute-intensive workloads. And the rise of ChatGPT triggered, and related models, of course, triggered a shortage of GPUs. And decentralized compute networks offer a potential solution to that. So they're aiming to connect entities seeking compute to resources to idle GPU compute power. Scaling. So scaling is obviously not an emerging trend, and it's been ongoing, and a lot of projects that are working on that. But one of the things that we found really interesting is that the market rally that started in October was basically fueled by scalable apps. So scalable apps built on lower cost chains that, because of the low cost, of the low transaction costs, have seen an explosion of activity. And what it has also sparked is innovation and new experiments that are tapping into crypto native features. So in other words, no one wants a Twitter on decentralized rails just because, right? They wanted to do something special. And so an example of that is Drip. So Drip is a Solana-based platform that lets users earn free collectibles from creators as a reward for their time and attention. And why this is interesting is because as Drip started to gain traction, they were minting something like 5 million NFTs every week, right? So if you need to be able to do that cheap, right? And that's what Solana allows you to do. So instead of paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, they pay a few $1,000s per week to do that, which makes these experiments and crypto native applications economically viable. Now, EIP 4844 provides rollups, so layer 2s, with reduced data availability costs. And what we've seen is that layer 2 fees have significantly decreased post implementation, and often by a factor of 10. And that is the order of magnitude cost reduction that you need to see in order to be able to do these things, right? So now transaction cost may only be a penny. And that's how you enable experimentation and new applications, and that's how you bring new users on chain. Another thing that we looked at recently and that we found interesting is EIP 4844 in the context of like smart wallets. So smart wallets have seen steady growth since the rollout of ERC 4337 like last year, but relatively it was modest to overall user growth across various crypto networks. And the cost reduction of EIP 4844 makes sponsorship at scale possible. And what I mean by that is smart wallets, they have some friction attached to them, right? So they have a setup cost, they have small ongoing costs, and the decentralized applications have actually been quite willing to sponsor that cost for the users to kind of like, abstract it away and to remove that friction. But with EIP 4844, and that magnitude cost reduction, it makes it possible to do that at scale and basically significantly reduce the customer acquisition costs for decentralized application. And that makes the UX of these applications more comparable to Web 2, which is what we need to onboard the masses onto crypto and unlock access to on-chain apps. Because once these users are on-chain, they will start engaging with other apps, not just for the sake of it. They obviously will still have to be interesting, but it removes some of these barriers. Finally, is it enough? One thing that we looked at last week is the fees. Fees on base, for example, have occasionally surpassed pre-EIP 4844 levels, which is kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because it's an indicator of momentum and adoption, but at the same time, it kind of like rolls back the progress. And the reason why that is because the standard addresses the data availability costs, but gas prices still remain subject to supply and demand. So as DEX trading volume 3x because of the lower cost, transaction fees on base increased, and revealing that challenges are still ahead, as well as some other things that continue to emerge here. And something obviously recognized by Base. They tweeted about it a couple of times last week, or over the last week. Okay, everyone's favorite topic, meme coins. So crypto is often criticized for not having use cases for the average Joe, right? But and that is a fair comment, but meme coins actually have been successful consistently in bringing people on chain. So looking at a little bit of history and numbers here. So Doge has obviously been around for about a decade or so, but really gained mainstream popularity in the 2021 bull run. It also got a cute little friend, Shiba Inu, that went from $1 million to $45 billion in 9 months. So people have taken notice. Apparently people like getting rich quickly. So in 2023, it took Pepe only 22 days to surpass 100,000 holders on chain. And in late 2023, we saw an explosion of new meme coins on Solana, notably Bonk and WIF. So Doge ain't a joke anymore. And in fact, that brought us in full swing meme coin mania, right? And that kicked off earlier in the cycle than we typically see, because we had the Bitcoin ETF, and that contributed to an all-time high in Bitcoin. And as that happens, people feel rich, they start rotating out of some of those gains, and that has been fueling meme coin mania. Now we think that memes are expected to stay. There's even whispers about the emergence of a new asset class. And memes are actually pretty good about bringing people on chain. And that intuitively makes sense, right? Because to a lot of people, a cute dog with a hat is a lot more interesting than technology, for which you also have to read a white paper. And if you're relatively new to crypto, you probably won't understand a thing. So another thing is unit bias, right? People much rather have a bag of 10,000 tokens than spending the same amount of money and only get 0.001 token. So, and so what is happening this time around, given that a lot of this action happens on chain, is inadvertently it's introducing people to crypto concepts, because you have to get a wallet, you have to fund the wallet, then you have to go to a DEX to swap your USDC or ETH into the meme coin. And from that perspective, you can think of it as a Trojan horse for the next era of crypto native consumer applications, which I quite liked as a term. Now, as happens in crypto, people over the last couple of weeks have started to rationalize meme coins and start throwing out very interesting and complicated sounded terms around it, right? So so a couple of these frames here. So memes are a way to monetize attention, right? So it's effectively an attention game where the score is being kept in dollars. And if you're right, you win, of course. You can also think about them as a prediction market, right? A prediction market, first of all, for like long tail stuff. So I bet that people are gonna find this funny, right? So I'm gonna buy this token, and if I'm right, I win, right? Or you can even create tokens to bet on the likelihood of a certain thing occurring, right? Like the US election, like the Biden tokens and the Trump tokens. And then, the more likely that people think that one of the candidates is going to win, the higher it can go up. And if they don't win, well, you lose all your money. And then finally, meme coins, from that perspective, can also be looked at as a long tail speculative surface. So think about something like lottery tickets or penny stocks, right? It pays to be early. You need to get your timing right there. It's all a matter of timing, right? And there's kind of like no logic to it, right? There's no valuation framework, or there's no fundamentals. So yeah, that's all that I got for today. Stay safe with your meme coins, and thanks for listening, and thanks Erica for putting on another amazing conference and for having me.